Now, let me see if I can get my link. Let me see if my link is going to go through. Hello.
Hello, up to the time.
Up to the time. How you doing, big man?
Yeah, Mom, there I am, Mr. Levy, from the Gaza.
Well, people, this is tonight we're planning an exclusive interview with Vybz Kartel out of Jamaica. So this is, let Vybz, before we get into it, let the people know that you are the original Vybz Kartel and we don't have no Milli Vanilli Cartel on the, in the studio.
Teacher, for the girl them, love you. New York girl, I'm a baby. Yeah.
So, Vybz, you have been having a tumultuous year. I mean, don't matter where you turned. I guess the University of West Indies did this vote the other day to find out who was the most popular DJ in Jamaica, and you came up by flying colors, the most popular DJ among the young people in Jamaica. You saw that? You saw that that thing that was done by the University of the West Indies?
Yeah, man, I saw it in the newspaper, man, and it was really, it was a very accomplished feeling, you know, because, you know, the teacher worked for it.
So, well, that must have been amazing, and that your nemesis, who have been in the news with you so much, came in at number 2, and I think that Beanie Man came in at number 3.
Yeah. Well, it's just a changing of the guard, you know, because, you know, not one time it was a Bounty and Beanie situation, but right now it's just Gaza and Gully. So it's like a new generation of fans in the streets, and they declare their champions. Okay, let's, you know, let's talk. There might be a lot of people who might not be aware of who Vybz Kartel is. How did Vybz Kartel get the name Vybz Kartel? Where did that name come from? Well, you know that name come from, it's a long time, you know, it's from a movie, actually, you know, man, one of those Colombian war movies, you know, where took the name from, you know. And just put the vibes on it, because, you know, unlike the real drug cartel, we distribute the music, which is legal drugs. So you didn't want to say drug cartel because you didn't want to come across the notion of the distribution of illegal drugs. So the vibes is the good vibes of music, and that's why it came out like that. Yeah, and we distribute that worldwide.
And you distribute good music worldwide. How did you get started, Vybz Kartel? How did you get started in the business?
All right, well, you have to understand, and I'm from a family from Kingston 11, because I was born in Waterhouse. And, you know, Kingston 11 is the birth of dancehall music. You know what I mean? Like how reggae birthplaces in Trenchtown, you know, it's a dancehall birthplaces in Kingston 11, Kingston 13. So it was just an overall vibes from the whole community till when I moved to Portmore now at the age about 5 or 6. You know, you have my uncles who used to DJ back then. So we get the inspiration from them also. My father loved music, mother loved music. So, you know, music was all around the teacher. So I couldn't avoid it.
No, I remember going to Waterhouse with Shabba Ranks and going to Shabba Ranks' house for breakfast and having breakfast with Mama Christie. What kind of impact did Shabba and the whole and the whole slew of DJs that came from Waterhouse had on you?
All of them. The biggest influence in my early career is Mr. Ninja Man, Shabba Ranks. Josie Whale, Super Cat, you know what I mean? And they have Papa San and Lieutenant Stitchy. In the latter part now of Vybz Kartel training, you know, Buju Banton are one of the most influential artists in the history and the life of Vybz Kartel. You know what I mean? Yeah, but Shabba Ranks and Ninja Man, just for the fact that is artists that you could have even associate yourself with, because them from the same era as you, and they are on top, and everybody in Jamaica talking about them. You know what I mean? So you just feel that energy and that band, you know what I mean? So the inspiration was there from day one. I actually did over 2 Shabba Ranking songs, you know, Ting-a-ling-a-ling, the Gaza Ting-a-ling, yeah, and Twice My Ear with Gaza Kid. And
you did that to show respect to the Grammy Kid?
Yeah, man, you have to pay homage to the old school, man, because without the root, you know, you couldn't have the blossom.
We're talking, just in case you've tuned in, this is going to be an exclusive interview with the one and only, the hottest man right now, the most feverish man at the dance hall, Vybz Kartel, voted in Jamaica as the most popular DJ of this time. You've heard him. You heard we're going to talk about the Gaza and Gully. And I've got the right to ask Vybz Kartel basically anything. We're talking about every thing tonight. No holds barred interview. We did a little bit. Now, tell me, you had a big party last night. I spoke to Usain Bolt earlier. You had a big party down there with Usain Bolt last night. And I understand that while you were having your party with Usain Bolt, that Mavado had a party someplace else. How did everything work out last night?
But both parties were kept in two different parishes, you know. Mavado's party was in Kingston in the building that is the club formerly known as Asylum.
Right.
And Usain's party was on the North Coast in St. Anne, a place called Priory. You know what I mean? So the vibes on both ends, as I figured, was airy. You know what I mean? And everybody accomplished what they set out to do. You know what I mean? Just provide entertainment.
Now, how did Vybz Kartel get in to the dancehall business? Do you remember the first time you went into the studio? And tell me what was like the first record that you had, or the first thing that you did that you knew, hey, I'm in this business. I've got what it takes to make it in this business.
Well, the first time Vybz Kartel went into a studio, actually, it was years ago when I was about 16, 17 to record a song called Love Fat Woman. You know what I mean? I was brought in the studio by Alvin Reed. You know what I mean? Producer of One Art Records. You know what I mean? And that was the first ever studio experience Vybz Kartel ever had. The song never got released eventually because, you know, at the time Vybz Kartel was young, so the vocal wasn't intact, the timing, the key, you know what I mean? But it was a learning process. You know what I mean? But separate and apart from that, when Vybz Kartel knew that I could make it in the business like 101%, was when I wrote the first song for Bounty Killer.
And what was the first song you wrote for Bounty Killer?
I think I said, if a warlord did rule the world, ghetto people would have never poor no more. Diamond and pearls, the ghetto boys and girls, you know?
So let's talk a little bit about you and Bounty Killer and the Alliance. How did you meet Bounty Killer? How did you get into the Alliance situation?
Oh, the meeting was I was introduced to Bounty Killer by my then manager, Ron Butler, because he was the one who saw me in Portmore. You know what I mean? Because we were running Portmore from day one as an underground artist. So he was the one who took up the management, you know what I mean, position and said, hey, listen, you can make money in the business and I have a link with Bounty Killer. So he introduced me to him, and you know what I mean, it was also surreal, you know what I mean, because it took like 2 days from the meeting to the deal, you know what I mean, to being fully fledged in the camp of Bounty Killer. A few years later, then we formed the alliance, you know what I mean, with Bounty Killer, Vybz Kartel, Wayne Marshall, Bling Dog.
Now, when you got in initially to the Bounty Killer's camp, you got in to be a writer of lyrical content for Bounty Killer. That was the initial deal that you had with him?
No, no. Actually, it was like, what would I say now? It was like an internship as an artist with Bounty, you know what I mean? But we write songs on the side and provide him with songs, you know what I mean? Because at the time, you know, Vybz Kartel is a young artist, so we're full of lyrics, you know what I mean? We're bubbling over with lyrics, so we have a lot of things to say, so that's how, you know what I mean? Every time I wrote a song for a rhythm, I just write one for him also.
Now, how many of Bounty's very, very popular songs were you responsible for the lyrical content?
Only for them, and I Great Forever. All of the gun song them in a most of the war between Sizzla and him, and between him and Beenie Man. There's like countless songs. Now, you were with the Alliance for a while, and then you broke away. What was the final spoke in the wheel that made you leave Bounty Killer and the Alliance family?